Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
We are creating conscious community by sharing mindful manifesting skills and transcendental music.
We are all in this
Together.
Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Woke up this morning, smiled at the rising sun. Three little birdies sat by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of a melody pure and true. Yeah, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Woke up this morning, smiled at the rising sun. Three little birdies sat by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of a melody pure and true. Yeah, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Welcome, everyone.
Mindflow Radio, here we are.
Yup. He's Monte,
And she's Jai Lynn.
and together we contemplate the universe.
Yeah, and our culture and our own individual minds and our own individual experiences.
Yeah.
I think, and we do understand that our individual experiences and our individual minds are important because all the individual minds together add up to the collective mind.
Yeah.
And that's what totally changes things.
Yeah.
Our collective mindset.
Yeah, I think there's different collectives though.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's different circles of that.
Yeah. I guess depending on what your vibe is in the moment, you can tap into whatever.
The grid.
Yeah.
What grid are you hooking into? Are you hooking into the
woe is me?
That's an easy grid to hone into, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's a sign. It's so easy to hook into that, like, woe is me grid because so many of us are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the collective grid is like energized. The woe is me collective grid is energized. So it's easy to just fall into that. And then once you're there, your mind comes up with all these reasons why to feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the
Totally.
thing. And your mind will come up with, and you'll ruminate about all these reasons why you should feel woe is me.
Yeah.
And then that could continue on forever. I mean, not forever, but a lot of people hold on to that for their entire lives. You know, that could be their primary grid.
Right. The home base.
Operation. Yeah. Well, what grid do you like to hang out in?
I like to hang out in the joyful, hopeful, faithful, trusting grid, but I don't think that I definitely could say that I get to hang out where I want to most of the time, but I definitely work towards it.
So you train.
Yeah.
You train so you can pull yourself out of the woe is me grid, perhaps. You know, and
I think good friends and good family help with that too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. In your tribe.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we help each other.
Yeah.
I mean, but sometimes some circles or some tribes, they're just all hooked into the like an angry grid or something.
Yeah. So I guess
that's another grid.
It just depends on what do you want your home base to be and. Yeah, a friend of mine recently was talking about, I think it was AA, and he said that what they teach there is different playmates, different playground. And that really rung true for me because that's really, if your tribe doesn't support you,
right, then
you got to change your playground, you got to change your playmates. And for a lot of people, that's really hard. And I definitely have been there and done that. And it's not easy. And finding the right playground is something special.
It is special. And it all kind of boils down to our own individual experience of wanting that, of knowing if there's a knowing that the energy I put out into the world is going to attract similar people of similar energy to me. So if I'm stuck in, let's say, the anger grid, I'm going to draw a bunch of angry people to me, and we can all like hang out together and be angry together. You know?
Yeah, and I do want to talk about that a little bit because, it's a lot of people are waking up to their internal anger and confused and finding different supporting views on why it's good to express anger. Yeah. And if you don't have good friends that support you expressing your anger, then they're not good friends. And I, there's so much information out there, and we can find whatever we need to support whatever we're going through in the moment.
Yeah.
But I would have to beg or plea, something like that, that when we're going through that anger, having a friend who can talk us back to center is really a valuable tool. Yeah. And there's ways to express anger, but generally not very effective unless you're not in the anger anymore.
Oh, I see.
You know, like when I get angry at someone, I will generally talk to you or to someone in my tribe and kind of have a soundboard time while I'm in that state. But I'm not about to go confront that person until I come back to center and can see their perspective and can walk a minute in their shoes. And
that's it. If we really empathize with people fully or as fully as possible, it really reduces our anger towards everybody.
Right.
You know.
But what I find is really cool for me personally is I don't just put it under the rug. I then confront the situation because I have a deal with myself that I'm not going to talk about anyone behind their back without letting them know. And that's a deal I have with myself. So if I need to work through something with someone, then I'll go and talk to the person that I was working it through about. So point being that that's a healthy way of expressing anger.
Yeah, perhaps, you know. I mean, it is good to not repress anger, because repressing any emotion is draining to us. It takes a lot of energy to repress anger. And ruminating on anger, I want to say,
is dangerous. I mean,
that takes
harmful.
Our energy too.
It's harmful to the body.
Well, it's
the
harmful.
Brain,
well, yeah, and then
the cells.
So that's not necessarily psychologically good either. You know, I mean,
no, it's not.
In our culture, I feel like there's a lot of energy towards ruminating on anger. You know, I mean, just look at Facebook. It's like all this anger just like pouring out all over the place. And I mean, if your philosophy is to, like, if somebody does something wrong, you get angry at them.
Right.
You're going to be angry your entire life. I mean, and how many people are angry at everybody? I mean, at the billionaires, at the 1%, at the politicians,
anger
at
is like
ourselves. That's the thing.
Anger is like a sick root. You know, if you want a healthy plant and it's sitting in anger, it's kind of like an overwatered plant.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the roots start to rot. And you need some sunshine to dry that soil out. Yeah. And some air to dry the soil out. And if you just keep on sitting in that sludge, it kills the plant eventually.
Well, and anger like feeds on itself. I mean, this spark of anger within us can help us change.
Activate. Yeah. It can be activating.
So it can be a positive thing. If we feel that spark of anger, then there's something in us that is like, oh, I need to change something. Something's got to change. But if we cling to that spark of anger, it's enervating. It takes our energy. It disables us because our minds go into hatred. If we cling to anger enough, we go into hatred, and then we don't see the entire picture.
Right.
And to mindfully see the entire picture means you see the good and the negative, the positive and the negative of any situation. And ideally, you empathize with people as well.
Yeah.
You know, understand that people are really trying to do what they think is best. And even if you don't agree with them, I mean, if we can find compassion towards everybody, the anger just kind of diminishes.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, the spark of anger, it can be very helpful. But if we cling to it, it can really wreck us.
Right.
Because we're not going to do many positive things in our life if our main grid is the anger grid.
Right. But what I wanted to try to remember to say is the healthy way of channeling anger is to work through it and come back to that level place. Because if you go up to somebody and you're pissed, and I'm pissed, okay, I'm going to start using I instead of you. I'm pissed. I walk up to you and I used you. And
good job.
And I'm just like, you know, you're not doing what I want. I need you to change. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. the person is not going to hear me.
No.
But if I can come back to center after being pissed off, and I can say, hey, we need to talk. I don't think you understand what I need from this situation. Can we work together to make this happen?
Yeah.
You're going to get results. I'm going to get results.
Yeah. And you're talking, interpersonal anger. And the problem with anger, though, is what if you're angry at a billionaire and you can't talk to them?
That's where I was talking about the overwatered roots, because you're overwatering them with this unhappiness. And if you want to manifest, if I want to manifest and I'm mad at a billionaire, I am not going to manifest anything amazing because I'm blocked. I'm sitting in a pot with too much water.
Okay.
I'm not able to feel the sunshine. I'm not able to feel the wind, and I'm not able to be healthy about any money matters.
So that would be a situation where you could actually work out the anger in your own mind without because you're not going to be able to confront some billionaire.
Well, you can confront yourself.
Well, you're going to have to work it out in your own mind. And I would suggest, finding that compassion, finding the empathy, finding
forgiveness.
Well, forgiveness. Yeah, forgiveness is a big deal. And almost more importantly than any of that, it's like you want to be pouring your energy into some project in your life that you want to, something you want to achieve. What do you want to manifest? Pouring your energy into that rather than pouring your resentment into some billionaire that you don't like.
I think what I have understood from many versions of teachers who try to assist people in manifesting money, per se.
Okay.
And if you don't change those viewpoints, if a person doesn't change the viewpoints, then even if you are putting energy into another project, you still have that vibration.
Yeah.
That doesn't need anything to go.
Well,
it's a vibration that's there, and until that vibration is shifted.
So you're hooked into the
grid,
anger grid,
resentment, jealousy,
and another aspect of really having a bunch of anger towards somebody you can't even talk to is frustration.
Oh yeah,
So then we get frustrated because we can't express our anger, and we take it out on each other, and then the bottom line towards anger is if my mind is in the habit of being angry a lot. Bam, when I make a mistake, boom, that anger comes flying right back at me. Self-hatred, low self-esteem are the results of me being angry at myself. And when I see super angry people, I'm just like, whoa, they must have some really difficult relationship with themselves. Because the thing is, the mind gets in habits. If your mind is in the habit of being compassionate to others, you'll also be compassionate to yourself. And when you make that mistake, whatever it is, because God knows we all make a bunch of mistakes. I'm constantly making mistakes, and if I don't have that ability to forgive myself and be compassionate towards myself, then my self-esteem sinks, and then what am I going to create? I mean, it's just
same old.
Yeah, right.
So in yoga, this is called samskara, the loop. We go on these loops that are so deep in our psyche.
Yeah.
And to change a samskara, it takes effort. It takes training. It takes practice. It takes
training. Yeah.
Continual focus on. I'm back in that groove again.
Well, that's the metacognition piece you're talking about, is watching your own thoughts.
Right.
Being the witness to your own
I am talking
thinking.
About that, but I'm more talking about it starts with a simple, I'm going to do this practice to shift this samskara, to shift this habit. And in yoga, they say 40 days of a practice is what it takes to break an old habit, and then 90 days to make a new habit.
Okay.
So that just shows you that, yeah, you can break an old habit, but if you don't stick with the practice, then it creeps back up and you fall back in the groove. And that still happens. I've been practicing for years and I fall back in my groove, my samskaras, and I was just kind of whiny just a little bit ago. It happens.
Well, I was in that place too this morning. Maybe collectively we were like feeding off each other.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, woe is me, woe is me. And my mind is like, woe is me because of this, you know, and like it thinks of all the reasons.
Yeah.
And then you can like ruminate on that and just feel all like
and
terrible.
Then I'm a little bit different. I'm like, woe is me. This is just like the past. Look at how this is similar.
Okay, yeah.
And so that's where I go. I start comparing, and that's actually a psychological coping mechanism for people with trauma. Is anything comes up in the present, and they start comparing it to everything in the past. And I do that a lot still, and that's what I was doing this morning. Like, oh no, this is like that one time and that other time, and oh no, this is not. Yeah, I don't know, but
that's interesting, you know, and just you think of it. I mean, if we're able to more effectively just witness our like if I was able to witness my thoughts, say, oh, you know, I'm in this pattern. I'm hooking into this woe is me grid right now. And then, you know, purposefully trying to be present rather than sinking back into the past.
Right.
Right? Because there's a lack of presence there if you keep thinking about the past.
Right. Yeah.
And that makes us feel even more like less energized.
And I do have to say that we didn't do our meditation this morning. So that we're working on this psychological stuff of our own without having taken that time.
Yeah.
And I also want to
have
say,
issues, by the way, everybody.
Yes.
We're
all humans. We all came here to work on this stuff.
And to help each other.
And I wanted to say that, so to get to that metacognition place,
being the witness,
you do the practice. So how I was taught is you pick a practice. It can be a physical practice or a mental practice, and you commit to it. And how I've done it is I get out a calendar or a journal. I generally use my journal now, but back in the day I would get out a calendar and I'd write on the calendar, I'm starting this practice. And I would write in small letters what the practice was. And for me, I like mantras a lot, but it could be an affirmation or it could be a specific set of movements that you commit to doing every day to shift a habit. So say you want to quit smoking, so you promise every day you're going to run a block and try to run to waken up your lungs and not want to smoke or something like that. I don't know. But it can be very normal, or it could be really etheric and a really beautiful meditation that you pick out, or you want to meditate to a specific idea or whatever. I hope you're understanding me. And so you pick it, you write it down, and you also have your reason why, your intention. I'm going to do this practice because I want to work on smoking, because I already used that, right? And then every day you do it and put a little check each day. And you put on the 40th day, so on day 1, you count to 40 and find the 40th day and say that this was the 40th day, write 40 on there. And then you know when you get there that you did it. And it's worth a celebration, or, you know, it's worth something. It's worth acknowledging that you did it, because putting your mind to practice is a really big deal.
Oh, it is. It's training.
Yeah.
Now seems to be a great time for us to be training.
Yeah.
our minds and our bodies, and just like in whatever way works for us.
Yeah.
Maybe you just training to be, let the practice be just finding forgiveness.
Yeah.
Finding like the 10
could be that
instances, and you just try and find that forgiveness. And, one thing about forgiveness, and this is interesting, is they've done studies on it, in that even if you can't forgive somebody, if you can just say it, perhaps in your mind, I forgive so-and-so for such and such, it moves you in that direction. And if you can just keep saying that, eventually you'll find some forgiveness, and I would suggest using empathy is a key component to being able to forgive. And, and then lo and behold, I'm able to forgive myself.
Right.
As well, for all the major F-ups in my life. There's been quite a few, really.
No doubt, right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's a beautiful option too, is simply stating, I'm going to do a forgiveness practice for 40 days. And, it could vary so much. It could be, I'm going to do 10 push-ups every day. It could be... But it's
play
this
music
commitment.
Every day.
Yeah, it's a commitment that you make to yourself and your spirit, basically. Because after 40 days, when you look back, it's like, oh, I kept a promise to myself.
Yeah.
Oh, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, right. And see what we can change. And ultimately, through these experiences, we habitually begin to hook into higher vibrational grids, consciousness grids. And we can go from like the anger grid and the self-pity grid and all that, and maybe bump it up to the joyful,
present, content,
or
peaceful.
That's it. Or a grid of just like the people who are changing the world kind of grid.
Yeah.
Like what kind of grid does Elon Musk hang out in?
I don't know.
It's like a changing the world kind of grid, whatever it is, man.
I want to be on the changing the world grid.
Yeah, me too. That's kind of my goal, is to just get there habitually.
So I also want to add that on the 40 days, every day before you begin, you ground in a little bit, take a few deep breaths and say, and this is why I'm doing it. So do you remember your intention every day? Because that's what makes it mindful. That's what makes it for real. So even if it's just doing 10 push-ups, you remember your intention before beginning.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that way you're honoring that commitment. But if you're just forcing yourself to do it and go into automatic, which can happen.
Yeah.
I've definitely done it. I just caught myself in automatic recently and was like, I need to get out of automatic. And I was doing 4 practices a day, 4 commitments. And I've been doing that for at least a year. And I realized that I was not deeply mindful in any of them. I was automatic everywhere. Yeah. And so I dropped 3 of them. And now I'm just sticking with 1. And I'm promising myself that every time I sit to do this 1 practice, I'm going to stay mindful. I'm going to stay present. I'm going to stay intentional. And I'm going to really absorb the goodness in it and not allow myself to go into the automatic, because I have all the time in the world to do 1 meditation.
Sweet.
Yeah. So that's my story to share.
Yeah. I guess I'm, even though I do have daily practices, my intention is to just have those mindfulness on the fly skills that I use every day throughout the day as much as possible with my breathing and my posture. This idea of forgiveness, just this idea of being present as much as possible as well. And those are more my just moment to moment practices I try and just bring with me wherever I go. And yeah, I do believe that the more we work on these attributes, all of us together, collectively, we will be creating a better culture, and we just like maybe letting go of the anger a bit, understand that it does serve a really important purpose, but not clinging to it. I think that is super important, because when we find our minds ruminating on like these issues, whatever they are, if they're interpersonal or if they're, as far as our society goes, or whatever it is, if we're ruminating, which means thinking over and over and over and over and over on these issues with anger in our minds. I mean, that's why people feel like they can like just, if they blurt it out, it's going to go away. They feel like they have 10 gallons of anger in their chest, and they're just going to and they're going to ruminate on it constantly until they like scream it out to the world, and then it's gone. But it really doesn't work that way. Because you scream it out and then somebody else screams back at you, and then you're just caught in this anger grid, essentially, and how can we transcend that? It's through training.
Yeah.
It's through awareness. It's through being wise to what we, the power of our minds. And if my mind is hooked into anger, what am I going to manifest? If that's my primary...
Nothing, really.
Well, no, I can manifest some pretty
a lot more
terrible things.
A lot more sadness, more reasons to be angry.
I tell you what, if I have a bunch of anger in my mind, if that's my primary grid of operation, anger, I'm going to most likely create a lot of bad karma for myself.
Grid of operation, goo.
If my goo, P primary grid of operation.
Pagoo.
If my primary grid of operation is anger, I can just about guarantee you I'm going to create a bunch of bad karma for myself and my family. Because when I'm bringing bad karma to myself, it affects my family. It affects my, my tribe, my village.
Relationships.
Oh yeah, just everything.
Everything. Animals, plants. Energetically walking down the street.
I mean, that's why we need to honor the power of our minds.
Yeah.
Which we don't. Essentially, we'll just fill up our minds with mental junk food constantly, because we don't honor the power of our minds. And it's our God-given like ability. Our minds, they create. They manifest. That's what we do as humans.
Yeah.
And if I'm hooked into that energy, that anger grid too much, what I create is not good karma.
Not pleasant.
No, it's not. I guess I've been there.
Yeah,
I
have
it.
too.
I get it.
I had a good 10 years. I looked back at my journals, and every year was the same. I just really want peace. I just really want to feel better. I just really want to be joyful, and I was getting absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. A lot of complaining, a lot of just distraughtness.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was ruminating, and I was writing down my ruminations.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a way out, and now how
did you spin out of that reality then?
I had to leave the situation, which is a painful thing to do.
Did you train your mind?
Oh yeah, I was working on that. Yep. I was meditating every day. I was doing yoga every day.
So perhaps your mind was starting to hook into a different grid, and then the universe just like throws you into a new reality.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's one way of
definitely
seeing it.
Gave me the courage to move forward onto a path that would actually get me to where I was longing to be. So, absolutely. So, where do you long to be? Who do you want to be? What grid do you want to be on? Connected to?
Yeah.
What do you want to manifest? What I feel that anger can be activating if it's used properly. So if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling worried or afraid, just really think about the possibility that everything happens for a reason, and maybe that reason is just to help you get on your path. And in the path, who knows? It's one of those things where we just have to walk on it. And there's no guarantee if we'll make it to the end or anything like that. But the journey is the adventure, and we can be on the adventure. We can trust the adventure. We can train our minds and work towards what we want to tap into and who we want to be and what we want to manifest.
Yeah, and just imagine if a bunch of us hooked into that the positive manifesting grid, bunch of us, man, this world would just, boom, change for the better.
And there is a lot of people.
There are, but there's
already.
more and more all the time, And I believe we're destined to evolve out of this current.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're going through.
Collective
is evolving.
Yeah, it is.
We're lucky. We're blessed enough to be the witness of an evolutionary process. And I would also have to say that I believe in creation too, but there's this line where we do evolve our consciousness, our awareness, our bodies, our abilities to handle viruses and diseases and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So toxins in the air and yada, yada, yada.
Toxins in our mind.
Toxins in our mind.
Which is excessive anger, I would argue.
Yeah, and fear.
Yeah, excessive fear, for sure.
I lean towards the fear, but I get angry here and there.
Well, and the poor me thing.
Yeah.
Those are all related.
Pity.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son says, stop pitying yourself. It's the voice of reason sometimes. But anywho, so we have a practice for you, and it's Yantee. So we'll share that in a moment before we move on to finish our week. So I hope that you enjoy this. I hope this gives you some inspiration, some meaning, some personal vindication of why to practice. And I don't know if I used the right word there. What does vindication mean?
Well, I mean, I think what we're getting at is now is a great time to train.
Yeah.
And I think if we're training now, the universe is supporting us.
Yeah.
So check that out. Mm-hmm. Pick out some practices, that are positive. Mm-hmm. Whether it's going for a walk around the block every day, like you said, or finding forgiveness for yourself and others, or doing breath work or mantra, or writing in a journal every day. Mm-hmm. But I think the bottom line is now it feels to me intuitively like it's a great time to train. Mm-hmm. And so it's
always a great time, but now
now it seems like the universe is really supporting that.
Yeah.
So see it as an experiment. Find something. What do you want to train? How do you want to train? And do the yoga thing. Do it for 40 days.
Set your intention.
Yeah, and see how it feels. Mm-hmm. Essentially, see how it feels. And
if you ever want our help, just reach out. And we work with people privately, and we also work in groups and on and on and on. So if you would like some assistance and you enjoy our vibe, just reach out.
Yeah, Mindflow Radio. Here we are.
Yeah. All right. So I just want to introduce Yantee a little bit. Yantee was written by Patanjali, who was the first yogi who wrote things down. And so I don't actually know if he wrote it, of course, because it's over 2,000 years ago. And he could have received it from elsewhere. But I want to share it with you because we're about to play it. So it goes, Yantee, Kad Yantee, Jagadutapati, Adak Itawa, Brahmadeya Tresha Guru, Itawahe Guru. And it is translated to all that is creative through time, all that is the Great One, three aspects of God, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwari. That is Waheguru. And Waheguru is a celebration of the divine that moves us from the darkness to the light. So, shall we? I hope you have a great week. And if this is meaningful to you, please share.
You are the one to know your truth. You can find your teachers and guides, and you can find the wisdom too. Have the courage to see all the sides. You know it all starts with you. You are the one to walk your path. You are the one to know your truth. You can find your teachers and guides, and you can find the wisdom too. Have the courage to see all the sides. You know it all starts with you. Yantee, Yantee, Jagaduta Pati, Adega Etawa, Brahma Deya Tresha, Etawa, Hey Guru. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Celebrate, celebrate the divine within you. Celebrate, celebrate the divine within you. Celebrate, 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 yeah. Celebrate, 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 yeah. Celebrate, 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 yeah. The divine within you. Waheguru, might as well celebrate. We've got this.
Thank you for your presence. You've been listening to Mindflow Radio.
You can support Mindflow Radio on Patreon and get exclusive content access. Big gratitude to Lotus Head for their mindful music, keeping us in the flow. A shout out to our sponsors, Integrated Mindfulness Institute. Online, visit www.imi.earth. For ideas, questions, or comments, contact us by email, connect@imi.earth. Many blessings on our health and peaceful evolution. We are all in this together.